Welcome back to SportSense, the show where I'm going to try to be slightly more prepared to watch the Super Bowl with my in-laws than I have for the past 5 years. All right.
We can only hope, Coop. We can only hope.
It's time to get some SportSense. You're gonna get some SportSense. You better get ready for SportSense. SportSense.
I was at my in-laws for dinner a couple days ago, and it was Sunday, and my father-in-law mentioned to my brother-in-law, he said, I think that Chargers-Ravens game is tonight. And I said, the one with the brothers? That's tomorrow night. And they were like, whoa, couldn't believe they must not have listened to last week's episode because we talked about it. But
right.
Yeah, they were impressed I knew it.
Well done. Well done. That's very exciting. Your mom will be proud. She wants you to share like that. So that's good. No, that's really, I love that you impressed them. That's got your father-in-law thinking, what is he doing behind my back? All right.
He's actually been very, very supportive of this podcast. So thanks for listening, Craig.
That's awesome. Thanks, Craig.
Okay. We're mixing things up a little bit, and we're going to see if you guys like this new format where we're going to focus a little less on current events than usual and like all the scores from the past week and games for the week to come. And we're going to talk a little bit more about a meatier subject that hopefully will start to build a library of useful content for people who aren't sports savvy like myself. So you can hopefully come back to episodes like this and gain an understanding on broader topics. And so we'll call that our main event, and we'll have that in a little bit. But we do still want to start with at least a little recap at the beginning of every episode. So with that, Dad, what is the big thing? What's the biggest thing I missed over this past week?
You've already referenced it, and really, there's multiple. You're killing me with it, me having to limit to one, but I really only want to talk about one, and it was the game last night with the L.A. Chargers and the Baltimore Ravens, the brothers. So just maybe you didn't know about the brothers, but I know we talked about it. But Jim Harbaugh, who won the national championship with Michigan last year in college, he is the baby brother. He's the younger brother. John, he's the coach of the Chargers. John, the older brother, coaches the Ravens. John, prior to this game, he was 2-0 against his brother. So that's kind of cool. Interesting. So Jim, the younger baby brother, has never beaten his older brother.
Well, I was about to say,
played head-to-head before.
So how is that possible? Were they both in college coaching before?
No, it's pro. They lost when they were in NFL together.
Oh, but didn't you just
Jim
say
was
that?
Jim was in NFL before. He coached the 49ers. I believe that's right. Sure, that's right.
And then went to Michigan.
Went to Michigan for 9 years, came back. So that's how that's happened. Anyway, it was a really, really good game. For the most part, I feel like the Ravens dominated, controlled the game. But in the end, the Ravens did win 30-23. They were pretty close to tied them. But then the Ravens went on a 30-6 run. And then San Diego was playing from behind the whole time. Not San Diego. Gosh, bad habits. LA Chargers were playing behind. I got to call them Chargers. Chargers were playing behind after that, but they did make it close. So now big brother John is now 3-0 against his little brother Jim. But that is something, after you mentioned you knew it was coming on, it really was a great. And remember Monday Night Football? That's me growing up. I still can remember the music to it and the way they started it. And it was a big deal growing up for Monday Night Football, really all my life. So you always want a really good game and good backstory and good context to it. And I thought.
How does the music go to Monday
I
Night
can't
Football?
remember. I can't do music stuff, but I'll think about it. I might give it to you. But anyway.
Well, the brothers, were they were they pretty, did they have good sportsmanship after the game?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And before the game, you see them. But in fact, if you check ESPN, somewhere it says, "What did John say to Jim?" That was a little clip. But you could hear them some. They already mic'd up a little bit, or they had a mic around them when they met. All the head coaches meet at the midfield, right? Middle of the field, somewhere in the field after a game. That's the proper etiquette, protocol, culture. Yeah, shake hands, give a bro hug, whatever you got. Or in some cases, if it's really a testy game and it's been some, bad blood, it's hilarious to watch the handshake. It's barely a touch, and they bolt each other direction but they do what they're supposed to. But no, they were good. He was he acted like the older brother. I hate to say it. He's a little smaller than his younger brother, but he kind of almost was consoling a little bit, just briefly, just that briefly.
Oh, interesting.
But no, there's a
like
huge amount of love. Yeah, and I think, they showed, but they're talking about parents struggle, right? The Manning brothers, when they played each other, you had their parents. Who do you pull for?
Yeah.
You want both of them to do well. Same thing with this. Their father was a coach. In fact, he won a national championship at the FCS level. I think it was 2004. I had read.
The father of the Mannings?
The father. The father of the.
Of these coaches,
of
the Ravens
Jim,
and
of Jim and John. So
Chargers.
So 2004, I think it was. And FCS means Football Champions Series. It's one level below the top level of college football. So they're from a coaching family. But
cool.
Anyway, pretty cool. That's what you missed in sports. Now, big question is, what did I miss in your world this week? In media or advertising? Yeah, I'm just curious. I need to learn. I need to grow and expand my horizons.
Well, we really are mixing up stuff this episode.
Yes, we are. Give it to me.
Did you hear any news about Jaguar this week?
I did.
I have a theory about it, but did you see the launch commercial, the video?
No, I did not. I saw a still shot.
Okay, let me show you. Yeah, so give us your reaction, but just be mindful that this is going to be on the public internet, whatever you say.
In public square. Oh, here we go. Okay, got it. What? Well, they want to break the mold. They broke something. They broke their brand is what I think. That's as weird as it looks like one of those bars in the early Star Wars when they would walk in and see all the whacked out cantinas with all the whacked out people, whatever creatures from around the galaxies.
Yeah, that's a good.
That's
a
what
good
it
comparison.
looks like. That's the best I can tell you. And so I'll stop there because you said I needed to be careful. So that's it. It did not grab me for the good.
Not a car in sight either, which is pretty funny. So
I just don't even know to. Oh my gosh! All right.
Okay, I'm glad we got.
I will not hire them to promote the ad agency did that. Promote my insurance agency. I'll tell you that.
Hey, and I will say there is no ad agency to blame for this one. Actually, this was in-house from the Jaguar team. Yeah.
Well, they need to get a new team.
Well, I know. I'm very curious to see what the future is. Thanks for letting me catch up on that.
No, that was fun.
Okay, well, let's get into our main event. This is our new segment for the show where we'll hopefully provide some lasting information that goes beyond just the past week of events. So Dad, when we first started the podcast, we were we were in the finals the playoffs. What do you call it with the
playoffs?
MLB? The MLB playoffs.
And then the World Series.
World Series, that's what I was trying to think of. And so now that that's over, and you're kind of getting me into it, admittedly, right at the end there. The Dodgers seemed pretty cool, and you were telling me about Freddie Freeman. Anyways, we talked about a lot of really cool stuff, but now it's over, and just as soon as I maybe started to warm up to it, we're in the off season. And so I thought it'd be interesting to talk about what happens. I mean, what's all moving and shaking? And is there anything that's worth somebody like me paying attention to?
Yeah, especially if you ultimately can find a favorite team. That's really where the buzz is, right? Find out what's your team doing. But so we're in what they call the off season, which makes sense. It's off season. But in baseball, it goes back to an old term. They call it the hot stove season, or just hot stove. And here here's a little history. I know how you like history. But in the late 1800s, believe it or not, is when it started. In the early days of baseball, hot stove season referred to an actual baseball season. Hot stove leagues is what they were called, which Major League Baseball players would stay in shape by playing baseball in their hometowns while staying warm with actual hot stoves. So at the stadiums and such, they had hot stoves because they played in a lot of winter climates in some of their hometowns, and they would have hot stoves to keep. Now, that is the purest, oldest reference to it, but it most certainly evolved. But that kind of gives you an idea. It's kind of fun to think about.
Yeah, it's cool to hear where the name came from. I had no idea what it could possibly mean when you said that, but that makes total sense now.
I mentioned hot stove to you the other day.
No.
But so there is no such thing as a hot stove league anymore where they actually play. So what the reference is now, it's So it evolved to thinking about when the fans were just missing their baseball. They're in Pittsburgh, they're in Milwaukee, they're in all the New York City. They're all these really cold places, freezing their heinies off, and still can't wait for baseball. Number one, when baseball season starts coming around, it means spring's coming around. It means winter is going to be over, right? So it's all wrapped up in this feeling. And you picture, especially in the early 1900s, all through a lot of the 1900s, but the early 1900s particularly, talking about the fans would gather around. Like it might be what you might remember us telling about your grandpa Keaton's, the old country store. Well, these would be little stores or bars or other places where fans would hang out, and they would have a hot stove there to keep them warm. And I believe they probably imbibed in some other drinks that helped them stay warm. Sure. And they would have this banter back and forth. You know, that player sucked. This one's great. We got to get this player somehow. What are we going to be like this year? So they would spend a good 4 months, most of them in a lot of winter towns, around the hot stove talking baseball. They were getting their information from word of mouth, but sports page, newspaper.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
I knew a very elderly gentleman in California when I lived there briefly who told me that was the only thing worthwhile in a newspaper, sports section and the comics. And I think he was right. They'd have their favorite writers, beat writers who handled their team. And you can imagine when the internet came about, then the whole world opened up into a whole nother where information could be shared to the minutia. I mean, it would drive a person nuts. But if you love baseball, you could get about anything and everything on what's happening now. To the point that as of today, if you go on ESPN, you can actually go to a hot stove tracker. For me, I'm going to go straight to Atlanta Braves. You can sort every team. You can sort players that have left a team, who have been released or who were traded, and new players that have been added.
Yeah. I was about to say, what are we just talking about? Trades and acquisitions of players? Is that pretty much the only thing that's being discussed?
Well,
and cared
in today's world too, you have to manage salaries, right? So you have salaries that you have to deal with, and how. So it is such a massive multi-billion-dollar industry. So it's got that piece, but there's a huge nerdy piece that became. It's called analytics. So analytics has filtered in for the last many years, has almost taken over some clubs, some ball teams who use analytics a whole lot more than just good old common sense or the eyesight of watching, with your scouts out there trying to pick up players. They use analytics a lot, especially when they have a body of work to review, right? They're looking to trade. They say their second baseman retired, got injured, or just really stunk it up, and they've had it with them. They want to dump them and get a new second baseman. Then they go out into the marketplace, if you will. It's the winter hot stove. They're out there working and looking at analytics. And then they review a guy's entire career from college, if he played, or all minor league. And then what has he done in the major leagues? Working, I think it's a year-round process. But the true baseballers, the managers, the scouts, the general managers, they take maybe 2 or 3 weeks off, enjoy a little time.
Who does this analyzing too? Do teams hire their own analysts to manage their players' stats?
Yeah.
Is that who does it?
So I don't think it's generally contracted out. Somehow they come together and share that information, and you got the eye test by the old manager spitting tobacco looking at them, and then you got the new geeky dude who's 22 years old telling them, no, that's not the guy. Here's why, and he gives them all the analytics of that. And they kind of mesh the two. I think the best teams are ones that are able to somehow blend the two. But there are definitely some teams that. So
in
choosing, let's say they're choosing a player to go after, right?
So a data analyst from the Yankees might be at a scouting event or whatever, and they've done the analyzing of other players to determine whether they should trade for them or make them an offer,
or at least give them the information. Right, give them the information how they might rank or rate the top 5 second basemen available.
So as an owner,
through analytics only, right? That might be his job.
Okay, so as an owner, I would only be incentivized to hire an analyst just so I could be more informed as to who to acquire for my team. Right?
Yeah, and also there's a lot more to it. During the season, they handle a lot of data points from their own players and which pitchers against which batters. And I mean, it just goes on and on and on.
So it can help inform the lineup of the next game.
For the manager,
kind of
right.
Okay.
Yep. So they got to know analytics on the competitors. It's pretty cool. Anyway, that's what this season's all about. That's a little bit deeper dive than what's going on in baseball right now. And well, before we know it, you have catchers and pitchers report to spring training. Well, that could be, I can't remember. Most of the clubs are late February, believe it or not, early March. Pitchers and catchers show up to camp, and then the regular players show up to camp for a few weeks. And the baseball used to always start on April 1st, but like all businesses, they want to make a little extra money, so they seem to be creeping it back. Sometimes it's March 28th, March 29th. I think they did a game last year,
like,
March 29th or 30th.
It's like with holidays too. Yeah, everything starts a month ahead of time now.
I think they did something in Japan last year early. So anyway, but that's what goes on. But they don't have many. They really have 3 months off from really playing ball. They try to stay in shape. But the spring training starts up late March or sometime, not late March, late February, early March, and they get after it.
So yeah, players, like, do they practice a lot in the off season?
No. Everybody, that's their time to recover and recuperate. Wow. Somebody might work out and keep themselves in shape. And then all your spring training venues are usually where it's the warmest part of our country, Arizona and Florida, South Florida.
Okay.
They all go. Those are generally the places where they have the majority of their spring training.
So in like the movies, like you said, where they're spitting tobacco and they're trying to eye the next big player. What's that? Is that
so? What you really may be talking about, what goes on all year long, or they have scout teams, and these are the guys you can picture stay in the cheap hotels, eat the cheap food, drink tons of coffee, travel on low airfare. There used to be buses, low airfare, go all over the world nowadays looking for, especially from Japan and other locations, but especially the Dominican Republic, which would be close to your wife's heart, Cuba, some of these countries that provide a lot of baseball players, a huge amount of baseball players for the major league. So you got all those guys looking at 14-year-olds playing 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds, and they're the scout team. So that's really, I think, more of where you start to watch the up and coming.
Okay, it's a long game then.
Yeah,
for some of those kids.
Because they call them farm system. There's the new word for us. So each baseball has a farm system, minor league teams. Those players make very little money, but they're trying to work their way to the majors.
Are those all 18 and older kids?
Generally, yes. You might get one a little bit younger that comes from, like I said, the DR or Cuba or somewhere. But yes.
Yeah, NHL does that too, of course. But yeah, the feeder teams. I guess most leagues do that, right? Does football do that?
No, they really don't have that. It's called NCAA football. It's called college football.
Oh, okay. right. Okay.
That's their system. Teams. Yeah.
Cool. Basically, I think I'm coming away from that thinking, if I were to care about an MLB team, then basically I would just keep my eyes loosely open on the internet for any news of a big trade or acquisition.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. I mean, that's all you can do as a fan.
But I think they'll talk about, man, I hope we get a pitcher this year. We need a righty bad, those sort of things.
You're trying to, as a fan, you're trying to find something to get excited about.
Absolutely. Well, that's what I was going to close with. Hope springs eternal, one of the greatest quotes ever. But it really does. And all fandom, but especially baseball, it seems like every April 1st, the first game of the season, I mean, your team, you just know you're going to go to the World Series. This is the year. And about third of the way through the season, you're trying to sell your tickets. Your team is in the bottom. They've tanked. They stink again. You hate them, but you still follow them. And anyway, the beauty of being a fan.
Yeah, totally. Okay. Well, it is poetic. It's very romantic, too. Hope springs eternal. I like that. Okay. Well, thank you for digging into that. But again, part of our mix-up, I've been going way too easy on you and just saying, okay, yeah, you say I got to watch all these 10 games. Okay, I'll check them all out. But I've been lucky to pop on one game over the weekend the past few weeks, and so I'm going to give you a shot to convince me to watch one game. And it's Thanksgiving week, so I'm anticipating you've got some good.
Man,
I've
got one game, and I'm going to give you my best shot because honestly, in college football, it's called rivalry week, but there's really nothing. They all stink. I mean, there's not any good games. So I'm not going to talk about
Thanksgiving?
That.
I thought Thanksgiving Thursday was like a big.
It's on Friday.
Day.
It is. It's NFL football. Same teams played. Dallas Cowboys, the Detroit Lions, they're the only fun ones to watch. But that's not going to be – the matchups aren't that good. So we're not going to talk about Thanksgiving Day, even though love watching football on Thanksgiving. College games, there's some on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I'm not going to talk about that. We're going to go to next Sunday.
Sounds like we're going to go see Wicked this weekend.
We won't be going. So game of the week for me that I know I'm going to convince you to at least take a quick peek at, because you're kind of getting familiar with we're getting familiar with one of the teams. But let me tell you why. So it's going to be in the NFL, and I think it's the game of the week across the board, including all college, all NFL. And it's going to be the Philadelphia Eagles at the Baltimore Ravens. Okay. So the Ravens are going to be playing on a short week because they played last night, right? So they got an extra day short. Philadelphia Eagles are 9-2. That's something. Baltimore Ravens are 8-4. All that sounds good, but that's not why. This is why you need to watch, because you are going to see 4, not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 of the most electric players in the entire NFL on the same field. All right? Okay. Your 2 quarterbacks, you can't get more athletic, more magical, especially one of them, I think, but absolutely the quarterback. So the lower one, I'll give you the ranking. The quarterback for the Eagles is Jalen Hurts. He is a remarkable athlete, and when he's on, he is a beast all by himself. He can run, he can throw, he can do all that. Unbelievable. So
I've at least heard his name. So yeah, is he one of the hotter ones in the league right now?
Yeah. Well, yeah, he's been getting better and better each year. You might have heard about the tush push. Have you heard about the tush push? Oh my gosh! Well, you need to look up the tush push. That's another great one.
Look it up.
It's
a play of his.
Well, it's that team, and he is the quarterback that's holding the ball while everybody pushes the tushes. This was Jason Kelly.
Oh.
Jason Kelsey, his center. You know, the other Kelsey that retired was his center.
Travis Kelsey's brother.
Yeah, Jason. So look up a tush push real quick and just look at what
I'm seeing. They also call it the brotherly shove.
Yes, the brotherly shove,
or the tush push. Let's see. It's a quarterback sneak with players lined up behind the quarterback who push the quarterback into, and they hope through the defensive line. Okay,
exactly.
So it's when you're just trying to get like a quick yard or two.
Exactly. Try to get a first down, or you're on the goal line. But it takes a strong, powerful man, and he is that. He can squat like over 600 pounds, and he's a quarterback. But when they push him, you think about it, it's thousands of pounds pushing on one side, thousands of pounds basically on the other side as they all mesh and shove. And he physically gets in there and he doesn't break his neck or his leg. I don't know. He's amazing. But that's Jalen Hurts. Yes.
Oh, one quick question. Why is it the tush push only on the Eagles? Because that's what.
No. Other teams have. They're the ones who made it the most popular and famous recently.
Okay.
Yes, and they did it the best. By the way, they were the best for the last 2 or 3 years.
Okay.
All right. But the Ravens QB, Lamar Jackson.
He's my fantasy quarterback.
Right. Poetry, but you got to see him in real life. Forget this fantasy. I know you see the stats, but you got to watch him a little bit. He is unbelievable. Sometimes he makes a mistake. Sometimes he gets a little too loose. But what he can do between running, juking, throwing, you name it, he is electrifying when you watch him. And those two are going against each other, right? So you think about it, you've got on this field. So there's not only those two. That would normally be great.
Matchup. Yeah.
Right. And they got 2 really good teams. That's exciting. Believe me, you'll see fireworks. You'll enjoy it and that. But here's what makes it more beautiful is they also have 2 of the very best running backs, which nobody talks about much anymore, but best running backs in all the NFL.
Saquon Barkley.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm beating you.
Saquon Barkley, who is starting to get votes and consideration for MVP, which it's hard for a running back to get that. So Saquon Barkley on the Eagles.
Okay.
And then, all right, you're such a hot shot with that name. Who's on the who?
I don't know the other one. I'm sorry.
All right. So you have for the Ravens, Derrick Henry. He played Tennessee Titans for a lot of years. They're 2 different type running backs, but you got to watch them. I promise you. I swear if you watch them, you'll go, holy cow. It takes him a while, but Saquon's the one that did that reverse jump, all that crazy stuff, right? This guy is like the train. He's like the hammer. They got more nicknames like that because once he gets that motor going, if he gets 2 or 3 strides, He lowers his shoulder. He's bigger than Saquon, and he just hits people. People hang on. He drags them, pulls them, bangs, bangs.
Scared to tackle him, probably.
Oh, yeah. Once he gets to the second level, which means like to the linebackers, or the third level to the defensive backs, they don't want anything to do with them, especially defensive backs and safeties. But the crazy thing is when he actually breaks out into the open, he has the speed to take it all the way, too. So think about that. You've got 4 who are clearly all pros, and maybe one day all 4 will go into the Hall of Fame. It will not surprise me. Jalen Hurts, not so sure. But the other 3, I'm very confident will. So that's all on top of just being towards the end of the season. It's a critical game. They both need a win. And it could be wild weather. It's going to be cold, we know, because they're playing in Baltimore. And we got this crazy. It's going to be 22 degrees in Raleigh, North Carolina this weekend.
Whoa.
And so Baltimore's going to be in the teens with the wind blowing and maybe precipitation. I don't know. So it's just going to have this perfect matchup of just 2 behemoths with 4 stars to watch. Now, are you interested?
This is Sunday.
This is Sunday. You might have the recorder to go to
Sunday's
house.
that's a day I'll probably
I know. I hate to push it on Sunday, but that's when most of the NFL plays.
No, I'm actually saying that I'm probably more likely to rest and relax and watch a football game with. I'll have to be at my in-laws. If we go to my in-laws for dinner, I think
they'll
check it out.
Craig's going to want to watch this one. I guarantee it.
Okay, I will say you sold me. I mean, Saquon, obviously, he not only had such a great move we talked about a couple weeks ago with that jump, but little video game news for you. I don't play this game, but apparently in the Madden NFL game, they apparently added. You heard about that?
2025. They already added it.
Oh, I guess maybe the game's not even out. But yeah, I saw like a little clip of they added his spin move in the game, which is pretty funny.
Well, the only reason I catch any of that is if it shows up on ESPN or Fox Sports. So
yeah. Okay,
that's
well,
pretty cool,
huh? Yeah. So I'll have to check out the game probably too. But yeah, between Saquon and the tush push.
There you go.
I'll tune in and see if I get any of that action. That sounds fun.
All right. Well, you're going to report back next week, right?
Yes. I'll come
and
back.
If you don't see any of it, I'll give you a recap.
All right. Well, good job. I think you sold me on at least turning the game on and seeing what's happening. So good job, Dad.
Well, I got a lot of work to do if that doesn't excite you. So we'll keep trying.
That was honestly a really good pitch. Okay.
All right.
Well done. So we're going to wrap this up with a little mailbag and a little Pops quiz as usual. Yep. So I'll just text you. I can text you this video directly. Have you heard of Banana Ball?
Like the team from Georgia?
So yeah, there's the Savannah Bananas.
Yeah. No, I've watched their whole history on the 8-episode ESPN. I've been a fan and followed them from the beginning once they came out.
Oh, nice.
So,
okay.
Yes.
So you've probably seen some of this stuff, I don't know.
The ump. Yeah, he's one of my favorites, yes.
Man, okay, so you've already seen it.
I'm sorry. I know. I'm all over this. I've seen them all. I mean, I've seen all their highlights.
Yeah, really quick for the listeners, my dad's watching a video captioned "Umpy with a Dumpy," and it's a
hey, he can move.
Yeah, it's a big ump.
Yeah,
shaking his dumpy, as they say. So, okay. So yeah, tell me about the banana heads.
No, we don't have time.
Banana
for
ball.
that. We'll talk about some other. That'll be hey, let's do a deep dive on that one.
Okay.
The story is amazing. I'd love to tell the story.
Well, whoever hasn't heard of it, go look it up on TikTok and stuff because I'm seeing some hilarious videos coming.
Oh yeah,
out of them, so
they are American success story. That blows your mind. Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, we'll definitely come back to it then. Okay, cool. Well, let's do Pop's quiz. I honestly think I think this one will be too easy for you, but since we're talking about baseball tonight, let me hit you with it. Okay, Bo Jackson, you know him, I'm sure.
Yes, sir. Yep.
While he was an MLB player, he also played for 4 seasons for an NFL team. Do you know which team that is?
I do.
All right, hit me.
Oakland Raiders.
That's not what I have here.
For football?
Yeah, which football team did he play for?
I thought he played for the Raiders.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
I misread it. You're right, but it was the Los Angeles Raiders.
Right. Yes. For a couple of years they went to L.A., but they've always been called the Oakland Raiders. Right?
I didn't even read the answer in full. I just saw Los Angeles and immediately thought
you immediately thought I
Rams
didn't
or
know what the
Chargers,
heck
but-
I was talking about. Yeah.
Yes, okay, you're right.
But that was a lot
It
of
the
years
Raiders.
ago. So, yeah, thank you. But, yes, thank you for giving me an easy one. Do you know what baseball team he played for?
Bo Jackson. I feel like if I picture his name and I try to think of colors, some brand colors.
Yeah,
Bo
there
Jackson.
you go. That's your area.
Did he play for the Bears?
Well, there's no Bears in Major League Baseball.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, Cubs. That's what I meant.
That's you never see stuff thrill me, Coop. No, he played for the Royals, Kansas City Royals.
Oh, okay. But Cubs, yeah, they're both from Chicago, right? Bears and
No,
Cubs.
Kansas City. Yes, Bears and Cubs are.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying I was mixing them.
I was trying to find your link. Okay, that was good. Thanks for giving me an easy one this week. Well, I've been thinking about it. I got one for you.
All right. Oh, finally flipping it back on me. Let's see how I do.
Let's just see. And because I don't know that much about your world, but I do, and I have kept up with advertising in terms as a consumer, right? So I know what things tickle me, what make me laugh, what gross me out, what make me cry. You know, I can be had. So I'm going to ask you, and this has got to be probably the easiest one I'll ever ask you in terms of advertising.
Okay.
I hate to set it up that way, but surely it must be.
I hope I get it.
I've got some fun, quick facts to go with it. I know we're running out of time. What fast food franchise started a highly successful ad campaign in 1984 with this slogan? Where's the beef?
Oh, okay. Well,
I just
now
heard your mom scream. I just heard your mom scream from the kitchen. What it is?
Well, thankfully I didn't hear it. Let's see.
I'm glad.
I know. Gosh. Well, now I'm torn between two. Don't tell me what it is, but I'm torn between Wendy's and Arby's. Where's the beef? It's got to be, because I know Arby's now is we have the meats. It's got to be Wendy's. Where's the beef?
Correct.
Oh, okay.
You
thank
got
goodness.
it.
All right. Is it? And it was a grandma that said it, right?
Yeah,
Back
let me
then?
share it with you. Can I share this little bit,
Oh, yeah.
tidbits? Because
Yeah.
I love this lady, but I loved her story even better. Ad featured Clara, I think it's Peller. Yeah, Peller. She was 81 years old when she first started the first ad, and she was a manicurist and a beautician in her career. She'd never been an actress or anything.
Wow.
Some guy found her that worked for the ad company, and so it first aired January 10th, 1984. This is what's crazy. It was mostly meant because Wendy's was really new, fairly new in the marketplace, and remember they had square burgers, and their burgers could look bigger. And McDonald's really went after them that they had a small burger compared. But she would always go to supposedly like a quote McDonald's, and she'd get a bun, 2 big buns, and be a little patty in there. And she'd look at it and she'd go, "Where's the beef?" with that funny old face of hers. But here's the part I think you would find. You talk about the power in advertising. The ad was an instant hit, becoming a cultural phenomenon, which is still around. It's crazy. And helping Wendy's increase in its first year of the ad campaign, it increased their annual revenues by over 31%.
Nice. Yeah, that is a hit.
You don't move fast food numbers that easily,
Right.
but 31%. Anyway, she was, this is the funny part, and I'll wrap it up. Peller, the actress, the old lady, was already in her 80s and had some health problems, including shortness of breath. Oh. She repeatedly ran out of breath when they were trying to get her to say the original quote was supposed to be, "Where's all the beef?" But they said she would always run out of air and oxygen before she got to beef.
No way.
So they removed the word "all," and she could get out, "Where's the beef?" and have enough to be able to breathe afterwards.
That's awesome. That's really funny. Okay. That's crazy. I guess all kind of does require a bit of an exhale. Where's all the beef? Yeah.
Well,
that's
they took
hilarious.
out the word. So anyway, well, you did good.
Okay. Well, very fun. Yeah. So Pop's quiz is now a two-way street, and I've already done some good show and tell with you today. But I think in the future, if we have some spare time, I'm gonna try to get some funny reactions from your dad and show you what the kids are into these days, show you what I'm into these days, and see what you think about it. But for today, I think we'll go ahead and sign off. And thanks for listening. And remember, actually, a couple of reminders. Yeah, remember to email us at sportsensemailbag@gmail.com if you have any funnies or questions you have for us. And then also, I've been posting clips of us on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, or X, I guess.
Yeah, nice work, Coop. I've enjoyed those. That's nice work on your part.
It's fun, yeah. And I know a lot of my friends have said, they might not be inclined to listen to a whole podcast episode, but they like seeing clips of us. So go follow us there. Just look up SportSense Podcast, I believe is our username and all that. And until next time, see you later, Dad.
All right, Coop. See you, Coop.
It's time to get some sports sense. You're gonna get some sports sense. You better get ready for sports sense. Sports sense.